Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. I get to spend a little time with their families. It's obviously very important, and I know you guys travel and are as busy as sometimes us coaches. So hope you get to enjoy the day. But obviously, coming off of last night's game, we saw marked improvement. I think the one thing that I keep reiterating, I talked about last night, is how proud I am of the locker room. They're trying really hard to be a really good team, and nothing's come easy to this point. Obviously, a lot of injuries and Kofi's suspension, but we're guarding. We're playing well enough on that end. We out rebounded another Power Five team, 16 or 18, whatever it was yesterday. Obviously, some areas that we've got to clean up are the turnovers, and then I was disappointed. I don't think we're in great shape yet. Obviously, Kofi I think was 9 of 10 at the free throw line and struggled a little bit down the stretch. Hutch missed one, DeMonte missed one. We've got to get back into to late game shape, so where we can be really focused. But I thought we showed great toughness, great grit, and nothing of significance yet on Trent. He's still in a walking around with the use of crutches. So we'll see as that goes and moves forward. But I will say this: we know it's not an ACL, so we'll continue to monitor that. Get ready for UT Rio Grande, who's coached by a dear friend, Matt Figger. Fig and I worked together for a long time. Many of you guys may remember he was at Austin P when they came in here my first year, and really gave us a great game, heck of a game. He did a great job there, and is in year one down there. So it's a team that's playing extremely well. They've got a couple of very gifted scorers. They know how to compete. They're playing extremely well on the defensive side. So I'm, they're picked at the top of the WAC or close to it. They're going to be a team that's going to be a team to be reckoned with in their league, and we're going to have to play very well.
Hey, Brad, with Trent potentially out for a couple games at least, what does that mean for Alfonso, Austin, and just the rest of the team?
Yeah, next man up. And I mean, you don't replace Trent. He's a guy that again plays the point, plays off of it, but in a conversation with Bruce after the game last night, it's just talking about how disruptive he is on the defensive end, and he's a guy that doesn't let a night where he didn't play very well offensively affect what he does defensively, and he just Trent's the one guy who doesn't make scouting report mistakes. He doesn't make he might go 3 or 4 or 5 games without making one. So there's a mental component to not having him if he's out. But Plummer and Hutch and we'll see Brandon Pajemski. All those guys are going to have to step in and fill that role. Those are big shoes to fill.
And then last night you said Andre's dealing with like head trauma from the concussion. Can you clarify what he's going through right now and just medically, like how you guys are dealing with him?
Yeah, it's not that. It's not that. We've ruled that out, and I'm not going to get into anybody's medical stuff, but we did rule that piece out. So it's it's something he's frustrated with, and we'll just keep monitoring and see how it keeps moving from here. But he was terrific in the 18-19 minutes he played, and was terrific, and he's leading the country in assist ratio, and again, that was another positive sign last night, was his play.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, you've talked about just sort of the unsettled nature of things at the beginning of the year. Have you had a season that started like this where you maybe haven't had that group you thought you would in the first couple weeks?
No, No, not to this extent, not to this magnitude. Not where it's, we've had situations where we were out a guy, but not, not 3 or 4 or 5. Luke had been practicing great, and just unbelievable back spasms where he couldn't even get through. He felt good, and as soon as he got to warm up, his back would lock up. So, he was back in practice today, in a much better place, but not where we've just had this number and this amount of guys for various reasons, and it has caused us to be a little unsettled.
I guess when you're going through a situation like that at the beginning of the year, is it more difficult than, say, if these injuries hit like in January or February, just because you get off to maybe not the start that you might have expected?
Well, I think the thing it does, it gives us time. When you start dealing with stuff in conference play, things can spiral pretty quickly. This one gives us some time to work through it. Gives guys an opportunity potentially to recover and come back, and then find some chemistry. Chemistry is and that connectivity is something that can be gathered pretty quick. I thought we gained on that last night, but again, last night I felt was the first night where I could coach. And put guys in positions to score baskets, and put Plummer in situations to continue to get him shots, to run actions to get Kofi the ball, so it was nice to finally be able to and feel like I was impacting the game from coaching, and not just trying to have a mosh pit of just trying to get through it,
Thank you.
Coach, I wanted to ask about Andre, and, I guess for lack of a better, like the struggle he faces. Trent's out, more is needed of him. He has to figure out when to hit the gas and when to hit the brakes. And, there's a mental component to all this, a physical component. He's under a lot right now. What's it like? How do you help a kid like that? How can you coach, in those circumstances for him?
Yeah, and he was terrific today, Robert. He felt really good, and he was extremely, extremely involved, and yeah, it's something that I feel great about Bello, and where he's at and how he's handling things. I think it's just as frustrating for him to not feel right, or I guess that's the right word. You get the best way to put it. But he wants to be out there, and it was, we'll find out what's causing all that. But he was terrific today, and we'll hope those days continue.
Have you had conversations with him about,
every day?
Like, it's a huge burden for a kid to carry of,
Yeah.
how to go through that, and it's a lot he's going through. So
he's in a really good place. I felt really good after today. I felt really good after the game last night, because it was, even though he wasn't an active participant in the game for most of the second half, he was still very involved in the bench, and he was a great teammate, and he was helping Hutch, and then our conversations today was terrific, and our workout was terrific. So we'll hope we're gaining ground on it.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, what's been your message to a locker room that's not playing their best basketball early? I know in previous years you had that, and then it clicked into place. I know different circumstances with the injuries and everything, but is there anything you could take from those past experiences and try to use and try to give them a peace of mind?
Yeah, my teams usually don't play very well early. For what you look, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think we try to, might be on me. I think that, injuries are obviously a piece of the circumstance this year, but, we're trying to figure things out. We're trying to get it right. And, I do that choosing to play a really hard schedule and challenging games. but I still think it's how you learn who you are. I think this team is trying so hard. I mean, I was really proud of them because I'll be honest, I didn't know. You know, we were at a tipping point. I didn't know where our fight was, and you know, I felt great when Kofi's waving to the crowd and getting them going, and you know, it was such a positive vibe, and this group is trying, and then to get guys jumping up making shots when you know you made 2 in the previous game, and those are the little things I take away, and then I know that you know, hey, it's a long season. You know, we've got a long way to go. We've got a lot of league games left, and we're inching up on it. And you know, if we keep playing defense, we're second in the country in DER. We're 6th in rebounding. We keep doing those things, we're going to give ourselves a chance till it all kind of clicks and falls together. And it'll do that. It'll do that.
Thanks.
Brad, I guess my question is along the lines of what you were just speaking about. When you do get it figured out, when it all does start clicking, does it need to look like it did last year in terms of pace and scoring and all that? Because you know, scoring's down, but I think we understand it's 5 games in and the injuries, and as you said, you're trying to figure things out. So is there a kind of a basketball goal you're trying to get to match what you're doing last year, or can it be different?
No, it can be very much different. And I think I think the one thing that I've tried to do throughout my career is adapt to whatever fits. And you know, we've got to get the turnover bug figured out. Most of the turnovers are careless. You know, I think we're 36th maybe in offensive efficiency. And you take away our turnovers and move us in a position where we were last year in turnovers, and we would be in the top 5. And the turnovers and the missed free throws have been a problem, but we're clipping along at a 1.1 point per possession, and I'll take 1.1 at any pace. And you know, we knocked the turnovers down. You know, in a 64 possession game like last night, you cut those in half, and all of a sudden, you know, that becomes pretty efficient basketball. And so I'm comfortable with it however it has to be. Would I like to be a little bit faster? Absolutely. You know, when you're short some bodies and some guards who make a lot of those things happen, you know, it's not as easy. And yet last night our pace and our thrust broke that game open. So it's we're going to continue to keep striving for it, and we get guys back, we'll be in the right place with it.
And just following up on what you said earlier about legs in the late game, were you talking physically or sort of the mental?
Both.
Late game?
Both. You know, you can be when you're tired. You know, it gets harder to concentrate. When you're breathing hard, it gets hard. I mean, you know, free throw shooting, when you're breathing hard, your head moves. You know, you got to keep your eyes focused on the rim. Little things like that. You know, I mean, poor Austin Hutcherson. I mean, he played 20 minutes last night. And, you know, he hadn't been in practice 20 minutes. You know, and we're throwing him out there and saying, hey, make an open jump shot. And, you know, the legs are a little rubbery and you're tired. And that's not easy to do. And, you know, next time out, next couple times out, you know, he'll make those shots and he'll make those free throws. But, you know, we've got to get, you know, Kofi's been out a long time. And he's got off to a great start at the free throw line, and that was just conditioning. That was just simply being in good enough shape to step up and make those. And he's that guy this year. I want to be able to throw the ball to him against a press or throw the ball to him in a late possession offense and not worry about him getting fouled.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, obviously through these last 2 games, you've had a couple different times or instances where you've gone 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 minutes without a field goal. What do you think that is being caused by right now?
Turnovers. It's hard to make. I mean, we started the half with 3 turnovers in a row. You can't score if you don't have the ball. And, you know, I think it's no matter what, you know, we threw 4 horrific post passes, just horrible. You know, and we can't do those things. You got a player open, you got to do that. We played a little bit sped up. We'll get that. Offense is like a fine-tuned piece of machinery, man. It's got to hum and it's got to be perfect. And when one piece isn't synchronized and playing right, it gets hard to score. And again, I didn't expect that last night. I didn't expect to be a fine-tuned machine. We're moving a lot of guys around, and obviously at the end we don't have, Trent or Bello. So, but I thought, our offensive efficiency was pretty good for even considering the turnovers. We were 1.1, so I'll take that most every night.
Yeah, and then I also kind of wanted to follow up with Hutch, and I doubt you're going to share his minutes restriction for obvious reasons, but he seems to kind of show a lot of flashes, but then also kind of be fighting off some rust, or at least he did last night. Where do you think he's kind of at? I know you said in the next week or 10 days he's going to be ripping the rim down, but what's the next step in him kind of developing here?
Yeah, it's just comfort. I mean, Alec, he hasn't played in 2+ years, and you don't just go out there and see a different colored uniform and you feel different adrenaline, you feel different excitement, you feel you get tired quicker. There's a different pressure on, and it's just kicking through that. He's got an unbelievable temperament and personality. He's been way better than I anticipated early. Way better. What he's trying to do is not easy, and he's knocking it out of the park with his what he's bringing to us, and not just on offense. I mean, his defense has been. He made one scouting report mistake last night. He helped out of a corner on Nigel Pack, but man, he's been tremendous. He's got a chance to be an elite defender, as well as a guy that's a great threat on the offensive end.
Thanks, Coach. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Expanding on what you said about some early season struggles over the years, is there some self-reflection there on how you approach the preseason? Do you need to scrimmage more, install more, anything like that?
I don't know. I think our system, our demands are, I think I do that every year, Doug. I mean, I try to figure out, how to become better. I don't know the answer to that. I also know I like the end result, winning a lot of games in February and March and January, and I like finding out who we are. I mean, I could play a bunch of home games and play the Joey Biggs Invitational and not go to a tournament, just get a bunch of bye games here and win and feel good about ourselves. But I'd much rather get punched in the mouth, find out who we are, and be able to deal with it and move forward in that fashion than just take a cupcake city, attitude and say, hey, we're going to win a bunch of games, but man, all of a sudden we get in league play or we're on the road and we don't have any identity how to handle it.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about was high school basketball kicked off, the holiday week. Have you got some reports on how your 3 kids in the 22 class have been playing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can you share those with us?
We've gotten off to a stellar start, and no, it's been really good. And Ty had a big game the other night, and just a couple quarters. They said he was electric offensively. And Jaden's been putting up huge numbers. Huge numbers against top quality competition. And then we're just getting started with the season. Excuse me. Man, we're just getting started with the season in Ohio, so we're right around the corner there. But yeah, we're excited. This is a good group. This is a talented group. Man.
Thanks, Coach.
Excuse me.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Hutch and the idea of just trying to not overload him, and just the idea that I know you in the preseason, you talked about him being on the ball if you needed that too, but is there a point where you're just trying to go, no, like I don't want your head spinning by the time Christmas rolls around here. Or I don't want you overloading too much as you get back in this thing. Fire drilling him last night is one thing, but do you have those thoughts?
Yeah, here's where I feel really good about. One, Hutch has been in a lot of practices that first year, and so he's got a really good idea of what we're doing and what concepts we are. Secondly, he's really smart, and he knows every position, and so I don't. The execution may not be great yet because of the timing that takes, but yeah, I mean, to say I don't want to overload him, I don't. But it's like I told him a couple days ago. I said you're going to have to play a couple spots, and that's just the reality of it. And he's got the perfect temperament, and I don't feel like overloading him is that big a deal. Where some guys I just can't do it, can't do that with.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Brad, I had just one question for you about Matt Figger. He had a really good run at Austin Peay. I was just curious what you thought about him leaving to take the Rio Grande Valley job.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons coaches make choices and decisions, and I think I don't know the particulars of certain things. I know that the athletic director down there at Rio Grande is a guy that I know. I knew he was looking for a head coach, I think there was a connection there that was very comforting for Matt. But the WAC's kind of an up and coming league with Grand Canyon and New Mexico State, two really good teams. They've added the Texas schools. But he's a terrific basketball coach. I think he made a decision that he felt was best for his career and future, and he's just going to keep on winning games and being a really good coach, because that's what he is.